What's up, Greg? How are you, man?
Well, super happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
First and foremost, January 2nd. Brand new year.
Brand new year.
Yep.
Brand new you.
New year. No, what did it say? New year, new me.
New year, new me?
Yeah.
I've seen that on a t-shirt or something.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're regimented throughout the year, it's just another day.
New year, same me.
Same me.
Yep.
Same me.
New year, better me.
Better me.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yep.
So we're going to do, this is not a formal Keto Savage podcast because we're doing like a private podcast for the tribe members, but this is also going to be on YouTube. And we figured we would do kind of like I don't know about weekly, but maybe like a bi-weekly, mini episode kind of documenting your prep and just what all we got cooking as far as body composition stuff is pertaining. Because like when I did my prep, I was doing weekly documentation on Instagram, but I'm not doing a prep. So if we could do this for you and kind of have it in audio form and video form, I think it'd be worthwhile.
Yeah, and I think maybe even starting next week, I'll start doing a little bit more data collection or data sharing. Like you did, you shared your photo check-ins, you shared all your analytics, your mindset, your macros, your weight, all that kind of stuff. That'd be cool if I start doing that.
Yeah.
As we get rolling too.
I think people find benefit in it because so many people are really elusive with their prep protocol, with their macros, with their body composition. And I can understand this like stealth mode because I used to do the same thing. But I feel like if you just document everything, it just helps from an accountability standpoint for yourself, but then it gives people more tangible data that they can kind of understand the process better with.
Sure.
So
yep. They
that's
can
what we
follow
got.
along. Checkpoint.
Yeah. So with it being the first of the year, we have got a lot going on. We've got this Natural State Savages competition September 27th. You're doing that, but you're also going to be doing multiple other shows. And it's also World Carnivore Month, so we're kind of modifying that and doing meat and bricks. And since you are officially starting prep now for your multiple shows this year, I kind of wanted to clean up my nutrition a little bit. After the holidays, I intentionally ate intuitively November, December of 2024, but I kind of gravitate to tracking, so I want to get dialed back in. So I'm pretty much doing the prep with you, except I'm only going to do it for the first few months to kind of just clean up my composition a little bit, which I hope will be beneficial for you as well, because it's always better if you're dieting down and eating out of Tupperware with somebody else than it is solo.
Yeah. Totally agree. And it'll help quite a bit that we work 10 feet away from each other.
Yeah.
So
10 feet away, we'll be training together.
Yep.
I'll be doing your macros, and we're just going to take the world by storm. So for this first episode, I figured it'd be kind of cool if we just went over our initial stats, what our macro targets are. We got blood work done this morning, actually. We got a comprehensive lipid profile, hormonal profile, thyroid panel, I think C-reactive protein.
We got a comprehensive metabolic panel also.
Yeah, metabolic panel. So we should have all those results next week, within 10 days for sure. So the next podcast we'll do can be kind of going a deep dive into what our markers were. So for this one, this week, we took initial progress photos. And Chip, since this is a video, feel free to throw some of those online for people to see how chubby we're looking right now.
Not a huge fan of the chubbiness, but it's part of the off-season cycle.
Yeah.
And getting stronger.
Got to start
making
somewhere.
Gains. Yep.
Got to start somewhere. So what are your stats as of now, beginning of the prep? What are your macros? And just kind of give some of those metrics, and I'll do the same for mine.
Yeah. So if I look at, I don't have a high-end in-body or DEXA. I think we're still going to try to get a DEXA sometime here in the next week or two. But my home in-body scale pinned me at, been kind of floating between 17 and 18% body fat. And take that with a grain of salt because we know the scales aren't the most accurate. And right around 225 to 230 pounds. So that's my off-season.
And you're how tall? 5'9"?
5'9", 225 to 230 pounds, 17 to 18% body fat. And last time I hit the stage, I do believe I was in the mid 180 pound range, 180s to very low 190s. And I'm hoping to come in close to that same range now with more muscle mass and even more lean. So that's where I'm starting. Macros, as far as those go.
Wait, before you talk about macros, do you know what your lean mass was at the beginning of your last prep versus now? Is it showing higher now?
I'd have to look. I don't know because I think we had Dexas. I'd have to dig that up. There was a few Dexas in the mix last season, and I don't remember if they were KetoCon or Hack Your Health, and then we did a couple. Remember at Upgrade in Omaha? Whenever I don't remember when those were sprinkled in there, but it'd be nice to do a little comparison there. And then as far as macros go, I had been fluctuating between 3,500 to 3,700 calories on a pretty regular average basis over the past 6 to 8 weeks in the holidays. There's a little bit of not 100% accuracy tracking there, just with some unweighed meals and stuff for Christmas. So where my macros are going to start at, we're going to start at 280 grams of fat, 140 grams of protein, 20 total carbs or less, which breaks down to right around 31 to 3,200 calories per day, 3,160 if that's all consumed with accuracy. So that's where we're at. It's going to be carnivore and keto brick or meat and bricks for the first month, at least January. I'll still be incorporating keto bricks into pretty much the entire prep just because they fit so well. And then as we move forward week by week by week, we'll manipulate the macros. Protein goes up, fat goes down, and we find the sweet spot. So
we're pretty much the same macros too. Like I'm 275 fat, 140 protein, 20 grams carbs or less. You said you're 280 fat?
Yeah.
So,
so
5 grams.
It's almost the same. Yeah, it's about a 2-to-1 ratio of grams.
Yeah. And you've got more muscle on your frame, more weight on your frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, just throw that in there, huh?
You said it.
It's because you're taller.
Yeah, sure. By 1 inch.
By 1 inch. But I'm not trying to do a full-blown cut.
Right.
So, like, it's okay that I'm starting probably a little bit above maintenance because that puts me at about 3,100 calories. And I'm at 192 right now, and my in-body is showing 19.8, I think, % body fat. I don't think that's super accurate. I think I'm probably more like 17 if I had to guess.
You look quite a bit leaner than 19 or 20%.
Yeah, I think I'm like 16, 17, but just for data tracking purposes, I've got access to that in-body, so we'll call it as it is at 19.8. I'll probably do a caliper test too. We ought to do a caliper test this week.
Yeah.
Kind of see how that compares. That's always a little bit lower than what the true body fat is, but it'd be good to have the metric. So I'm starting at 192, which is interesting because at my last prep, before 2023's prep, I started at 182 pounds.
So you're 10-pound difference?
So I'm 10 pounds heavier now, and I feel like my composition is pretty much about the same. So, for all intents and purposes, I'm 10 pounds heavier in lean mass, roughly, which is exciting because I feel stronger. I feel like I've put on some size. Again, I'm not doing a full-blown prep right now, but I should be able to see differences as I get a little bit leaner. I want to get down to like 175, 178 and kind of level off there because you've got 40 or 50 pounds to lose for this prep, and I'm kind of knocking on 40 pounds door if I was to do a prep, and that's a little bit high. I mean, when you're trying to diet down in 5-6 months, and if you're trying to average about 1 pound a week, once you get beyond, man, my last prep was 33 weeks, man, that was no joke, and your prep this year is going to be pretty long as well. Then once you get past 30 weeks, it's a whole nother ballgame. It's rough.
Yeah, I think sitting around 225 to 230 pounds is probably, I wouldn't want to get much heavier. I would contribute a lot of that to kind of playing with the top end of my caloric threshold.
Yeah.
And 3,700 calories is pretty crazy. I've never consumed that much ever, especially for an extended period of time. So I know I've got a little extra to lose because I was kind of feeling out that top end of things towards the end of the year. But if I have to lose 40 to 50 pounds coming out of this next prep, I'd definitely like to reverse into a maintenance and try to stick closer to the 200 to 210 range in an off season and just be real, quite a bit lower on the caloric intake from the top end. I can probably hit maybe 3,300, 3,400 is my sweet spot for maintenance. And,
it's interesting though. I think there is benefit to be had when you push that upper threshold with calories, but if you do it for too long, it's going to bite you in the butt. Because, I'm guilty of that as well. Like, I'm 192 right now, and if that's 19.8 is relatively accurate, that's That's definitely on the upper end of what I would think would be optimal. Because I like to be within about 25, maybe 30 pounds of stage weight, not 40 or 45 pounds of stage weight. And like when I got up to 202 pounds at the end of my reverse diet, I mean, that was just way too big. Like for me, 202 pounds is just too much. So I want to try and get down to 175, 178, kind of hang out there, but then try and bump up my calories just as you will do with your reverse so that I can kind of maintain that leaner composition more effortlessly.
Yep, that's what I want to do.
But it'll be good. I'm excited. And then we're doing meat and bricks. So obviously, what is your food right now? Like, what are you doing to hit the higher fat ratio?
Brick, usually it's half of a Bell's brownie in the morning, another half with dinner, heavy cream in the coffee, 8 tablespoons, give or take, depending on how the day kind of maps out. I've got some prime rib beef sliders and butter and some kielbasa sausage links. And then in the evening, that's lunch. And then in the evening, I'll do 5 or 6 scrambled eggs with some pork sausage, some more butter, and the other half of the brick. So it comes in really, really close to the macros. And even with a few trace carbs in the keto brick, it's not even nearly close to my 20-gram threshold.
Are you hungry at that intake? No. I'm hungry right now at 3,100 calories, man. I'm feeling it. I'm doing, like, I'm kind of partitioned a little bit different, though. I have a brick for lunch, heavy cream in my coffee, brick for lunch, and then my dinner meal is like a pound of a ground meat with some butter or something like that. But it's not a whole lot of volume. Yeah. And I was probably eating 4,000, 5,000 calories on a more often than not basis.
That's why you're hungry.
Yeah, for sure. But because of that, my metabolism is through the roof, so I feel like it's not going to be long for me to start seeing a pretty significant drop. So
even after just a few days, I'm starting to see and feel. It's hard to explain, but once you kind of get dialed in and your mindset clicks and your macros are on point, you meal prep, things are in containers, you just kind of flip into a whole alternate attitude, and you start feeling changes. You start noticing maybe appearance in the mirror starts to change a little bit. Some of that bloating goes down. The softness starts to kind of tighten up, and you just know that you're on the right path.
Yeah, and like your training intensity is a whole nother level too, because you're just focused. You know what you're training for. There's a date on the calendar. So do you know tentatively what are your show dates? You got mine in September, but you've got some before then too.
Yeah, I'm going to shoot for doing a USBF show in Wisconsin in July 12th.
That'd be the first one?
That should be the first one. There are a couple in June. I don't know that I want to get necessarily show ready for there's one, the NWA Natural Championships. I think that's an NANBF show or IPE show. That's in Fayetteville, but that's June 14th. That's a whole month earlier. There's an OCB show in Minneapolis that I was kind of eyeing up end of June. I think I'm going to skip because there's another OCB in Minneapolis later on. So really tentatively, July 12th is going to be the target date of show number 1.
Yeah.
And then later in July, there's Rocktown Naturals, which is an IPE pro show. That's in Little Rock, Arkansas. That's 2 weeks after that one in Wisconsin. I don't have any on the calendar for August, but that could definitely change. And then in September, I've got an OCB Natural Viking that I'm kind of eyeing up in Minneapolis, which is kind of my home turf anyways. And then 2 weeks later will be yours here in Arkansas on the 27th. So tentatively 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 shows.
And if you qualify for Worlds in November, you would do that too?
If I qualify for Worlds, there'd be no reason to not do it.
That would be like a legitimate, 48-week prep.
Yeah, and then probably a 6-month reverse. So the next year and a half of my life. We'll see. We'll see.
Quite a doozy, but hey, you can do it, man. You can do it. Let's talk about training real quick. This is going to be kind of a shorter podcast, like I said earlier, because we're doing these on a regular basis. But training, what are you doing with that?
So we kind of reverted back to a heavy/hypertrophy split, which I've always liked doing. And you end up hitting most muscle groups, pretty much every muscle group, twice in the rotation. And it is what do we call it, 4 or 5 day rotation. Each muscle group is kind of focused twice in that rotation, but with differing intensities. So for example, we might do heavy push and a hyper pull on one day, meaning we're going to grab a couple compound pushing movements and we're going to train those with heavy intensity. We're shooting for a lower rep range. We're shooting for really heavy weights. And then on that same day, we'll do hypertrophy or volume style training for the pull or the opposing muscles. These could be anything from compound multi-joint movement to even just some single joints. So for example, we'll do a heavy push that could be plate loaded chest press, incline press, overhead press. Then for the hyper pull, which is what we did today, we did some single arm lat pull downs on the cables, higher rep range. We did some seated rows, higher rep range. We did some straight arm pull downs, and we did some bicep curls. So the rep ranges changed from heavy to hyper. And then the next day of that rotation, we might do a heavy leg day. The next day might be a heavy pull, hyper push, so the opposite of day one. Then the fourth day would be more of a volume or hypertrophy style leg day. So it's upper body, lower body, upper body, lower body. Then that fifth day, you can jump right back into day one, or you can use it as a rest day, active rest day, cardio day, recovery day, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like a 4 to 5 day split, and you're just it's got a lot of intensity variability in there, but you're also using a good amount of frequency training same muscles.
Yeah. I mean, I used to do that for years, and I kind of went to full body, did that for 2 years, 2.5 years. But now I'm doing this again with you, and it's nice. It's nice to mix it up a little bit. But yeah, I'm pretty sore right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I know sometimes you always say, you know, if you're really, really sore after a lifting session, it's not necessarily a good thing. You know, you don't want to be too sore because it's debilitating. But that soreness feels good.
Yeah. Especially
when you switch something up and you just feel like you're getting a stimulus that you haven't had in a while.
Yeah.
And that's good. That's what you want. So.
And I like this is kind of a different topic, but somewhat relative. So I was working out later because Crystal was working out early and I was watching Rigel, but now we moved a garage gym in at the house so she can work out there. So I'm working out earlier again. And I kind of gravitate, like I prefer that because then I could just get the workout out of the way. Like I've been waking up, doing my cold plunge, jumping in the truck, going to work out. And then the rest of the day is like there's no workout. It's just done, which I kind of prefer. But I got to get back to that rotation as well, just to get acclimated. I mean, the whole thing about any of this is just being consistent with it for enough time for it to become habitual. And then once that time elapses and it clicks, then it's just part of the day.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. I used to be big into training in the afternoon because I thought you needed to have a couple meals in. You needed to wake up and be acclimated to the day. And now I just love hitting it first thing in the morning, 4:30 in the morning. You're just ready to go for the whole entire day after you get a solid workout in.
Yeah, and for me, now that I got all these business stressors, like if I start answering emails and then go try and work out, like I'm just not in the right headspace. Like I'm thinking about business stuff. Whereas if I wake up and then immediately go to the gym, that's what I'm focused on. And if you're focused on it, you're going to have a better workout.
For sure. Yep.
That's the plan. But that's pretty much a wrap on everything I wanted to cover for this round one. We'll do a deep dive on blood work next week or whenever we film the next one. And then we'll do these on a regular basis because we'll have updates around macro manipulation. We're probably going to keep these macros consistent for the next week. So have 2 solid weeks of the higher fat ratio at 80%. The reason we do that, you obviously know, but for the listeners, following the 7-phase, Savage protocol, by starting out with the higher fat ratio of 80%, you're going to upregulate overall fat metabolism, flush out any excessive fluid weight, and then just basically increase circulating blood ketones so that you can kind of set the stage for a productive ketogenic prep going forward. But already I start to feel more like mental acuity benefits coming from the higher fat ratio. You got to get a little bit creative with the food choices because 80% a lot, but it's not very long that we're doing this. So we'll titrate the protein up, fat down as we go, but the next 2 weeks are going to be the high fat ratio. So
Heck yeah. Yep.
It'll be good. I'm excited to see you shredded, man. It's going to be
I'm ready. I'm ready. Even just looking at pictures from past competitions is like, man, that's where I want to be. I want to be better than that. So that's the driving factor.
Hey, you'll get better than that for sure. I'm excited to see you on stage on my show, killing it. It's going to be good.
Me too.
Awesome, ladies and gents. Well, if y'all are not in the loop, definitely check out the Savage System. This podcast will have many more private podcasts hosted there. That's where the 7-phase system is. It's where the membership is. We're doing challenges. We're doing all kinds of cool stuff in there. So definitely check that out. That's at ketobodybuilding.com. The competition website is naturalstatesavages.com. That website is live and up and open for enrollment if you're interested in competing. What are their noteworthy things thrown out there?
Instagram, Keto Savage on Instagram.
Keto Savage Instagram, Keto Greg 80.
80.
What else? We got an Instagram for the competition
We
too.
do. Yeah, if you want to come follow the competition Instagram, we're going to be shouting some people out, doing some sponsorship stuff on there, kind of keeping people in the loop. That is Natural State Savages, all one word, on Instagram.
Yep. So yeah, 2025 is going to be a banging year. We got all kinds of things planned. We got a retreat. We can talk about that too.
Yeah.
Not sure when this will go live, but we're hosting quarterly retreats. First one's going to be February 7th, 8th, and 9th with Dr. Bill Schindler. It's going to be awesome. He's going to do a full farm-to-table demo on a hog, showing people how to make use of the entire animal, how to process it. We're going to do cold plunging, sit by campfire, go on a hike, all kinds of good stuff. So yeah, 2025 is going to be busy. It's going to be good, though.
It's going to be awesome.
And you're going to see Greg getting leaner and leaner and leaner.
Leaner and leaner and leaner. Oh, and we're going to the Arnold. We can talk about that. We got all kinds of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we got all kinds of stuff to talk about. Apparel stuff, we hadn't even scratched the surface on that. So definitely make sure you stay tuned and get notifications when these go live and all that good stuff, because we're going to have some noteworthy stuff, keto brick stuff, all kinds of good stuff. So appreciate y'all tuning in, and keep killing it, Greg. Keep killing it, y'all listening. Kill 2025, and we'll talk to you next time.
Adios.